My name is Adama Delphine Fawundu, and I'm a photo-based artist based in Brooklyn, New York, and I've been doing photography since 1993.
Yo, what's up, people? This is Russell Frederick.
Yo, and I'm Anderson Zaka.
Yo, we are here live from the Darkroom in Brooklyn.
We have some guests for you.
Every episode, really take it back and show y'all some culture.
With photographers, masters, legendary printmakers who are gonna come into the darkroom with us.
Tune in to Zaka and Russ, live from the Darkroom. We are here with Adama Delphine Fawundu. She is a photographer, an artist, born in Brooklyn, families from Sierra Leone. Ms. Fawundu is an assistant professor of visual arts at Columbia University.
Her works can be found in the permanent collections, the Brooklyn Museum of Art, Princeton University, the Brooklyn Historical Society, and the Museum of Contemporary Art at University of São Paulo in Brazil.
She is taking you through this journey outdoors in the sunlight with her experimental techniques. Through those techniques, you are going to see many layers of history, of culture, and spirituality.
All right, Delphine, talk to us about what we're about to look at right now.
Okay, so we're going to look at some photo lumens. And photo lumens are a very old process from the 1830s. These are made without a camera, so it's a camera-less process and not a darkroom process, right? So we use the sun as our light room. I thought about the process of making prints on fabric, right? And my grandmother, Adama, she did a whole bunch of tie-dyeing and batiking, and the process was women gathering together and stamping the fabric and then also letting the sun play a role in the drying of the fabric. So in a way, the sun is processing the fabric as well.
Yes.
So I thought about that as, you know, even the whole sitting on the ground. I like to be low when I'm working, like I like to be, you know, grounded.
The earth, right?
Yes, and I use water in these too. And then like the final thing is to add some ink, and I made some plates, right? So the way I grind it into, what is it, like wood blocks, but they're linoleum blocks that I carved in designs into.
To create a multimedia process.
Yes.
In which you incorporate photography.
Yes, like photography and block printing, and I guess this is also considered collage, right?
Yeah.
But I think that the energy knows what it wants to make. Mm-hmm. And you know, when I started looking at this, what was coming out, it just looks old. And I feel like it comes from spirit. It definitely comes from spirit. It comes from some type of intuition, some old language. So I'm using the photo lumen process, right? Which came about in the 1830s. William Talbert, what he was doing back then was using flowers to get imprints onto photo paper without, you know, a camera-less process, right? So I started thinking about the idea of being in communication with my grandmother's fabrics, and how can I take textures from her fabrics or from batik fabrics and make positives out of them to then make photograms onto photo paper. Now, I like this process of being out in the sun because normally when the hand dyeing process is happening, it's something that takes place outside. We're usually in the dark room because we don't want to expose things that are sensitive to light. But in this case, I'm using the sun as my light room, right? It's the opposite, right? And the paper is still light sensitive, but because I have things that are blocking out, making a, what is it, like a relief or whatever from the actual templates that I've made, the sun is going to process it. So this is like a camera-less process where I'm kind of not...
Like a print home.
Exactly. So I'm gonna put this down, this over like that. I'm gonna add this here underneath and put a little bit of water. I like to see what water does to it. Add some texture to it. So I'm gonna take this up here. It's already processing, which is interesting, this pink color. It's just water.
For the texture.
Yeah, just for the texture, because it's already developing even without the water. But I wanna try something different today, and I wanna put some water over this and see if it will reflect. Once this dries up, I'm gonna ink up some of these templates that I made. It looks like some indigenous language or something, right?
Yes.
So I see water in this one. It's so interesting. And this one, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out this one here. This series comes from a series that I call For Mama Adama. You know, so this is me using some of her prints, but also mine, and then kind of layering them together to be in conversation. But it's about my grandmother, but it's also about our ancestors as people of African descent. So I always use myself as a symbol, and my story is a symbol to connect it to the larger symbol of Africa and the diaspora.
How did you even come up with this genius concept? Were you just experimenting? Were you trying to do some things in the traditional darkroom? Like, why didn't you do this digitally?
I wanted my hand to be in it.
Gotcha.
When my grandmother made her work,
Right.
and people would walk around with the gowns on, with the fabric that she made, they would
Right.
say her hands was in it. Meaning that you could look at it and you could tell, like, this is her. This is
Right.
her way, this is her language. And I wanted my hands to be a part of, you know, making something.
It was her artistry.
Yes.
So it felt like they were wearing a piece of art.
Exactly,
From grandma.
exactly.
Right.
So when you look at these, like, I don't think that anybody could replicate these. I can't even replicate them.
Hell
That's
no.
impossible.
Right?
to replicate. How do you get that gold toning? If the gold toning has to do with the exposure in the sun.
Yeah, the gold toning has to do with the sun. That's the
That's
the thing
what
that
it is,
brings
right?
out.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
And would you happen to know how long each exposure is, or kind of, that gives you that darker versus the lighter tone of gold?
I feel like the longer that you leave it, the stronger the tone is.
Okay.
And for these, they've been out for a long time. And I did different things to them.
Okay. A long
So,
time,
like maybe 2-3 hours.
Okay. And are they for sale, right?
They are, but that I haven't thought about yet. Because do you realize?
Wow, you
no,
rich.
no. But the interesting thing, no. This is the interesting thing, right? People
Yes,
have
talk to us about
asked about sales, but when this leaves me, it's gone. It's not like I could go and print
This is
another
one of
one in the
one.
darkroom.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
So
you are very attached to it.
this is why it is, you know, it's not necessarily, it can't be a limited edition. This is a piece of art. This
This is what it
clearly
is, yeah.
is one of one.
They
right?
all have their own thing, and I'm just getting to know them. Even though, yes, it's good to sell works, to me, the process and making them is really the beauty.
Here's what I'm confused. The fabric is glued to it.
No,
It's just a screen printing off the fabric.
okay. The black and white part,
Yeah.
that was made in the darkroom.
Okay.
I exposed it, did everything, put it in the developer stop back, fix
And
it.
that was a fabric though, right? The black and white.
But to make that, what I did is I actually scanned in the fabric,
Okay.
then turned it into black and white, and then Photoshop made it into a negative. Then printed it out on a transparency, so now the transparency becomes my negative. But
Yes.
Right.
it was to size, like I made them
Yes,
big.
got
and
it.
then,
So it's just like making a contact sheet.
Right.
Exactly. These exposed for a long time. Because if you could look, you could actually see the grains from the negative in there.
Yeah, you're right.
I really wanted it to pick up that texture. So we're looking at a picture of Nas and Biggie. And when I look at this, I think about my start as a photographer in New York City. I was really interested in hip hop culture because I was hip hop culture.
Yes.
I
You
grew
still
up
are
in,
hip-hop?
I still am hip hop.
Right.
I feel like everything I do is hip hop. The methods of language making and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, I was just fixed on telling a story about hip hop. I saw hip hop culture as being similar to jazz and the blues. And what I saw was the way that photographers were documenting jazz and the blues. And I'm like, oh, this is storytelling. I could do this, and I could just be here as things are happening in New York City and just photograph them and tell stories. This series is called In the Face of History. For this project, it's really more so about the way the audience is engaging with it, and then also this idea of kind of, is this person a witness? Are they a spectator? You know, how are they interacting with these histories? Some of the histories they were written out of, but now they're right there in the face, right? And so I think about that a lot, right?
What I thought about was how history turned their back on us and the black woman.
That's it too. But now it's kind of, you turned your
Right.
back, but here I am.
Exactly. And also,
Yeah.
too, I thought about you going back into
Yeah,
history.
exactly.
Is this got to do with photography because this is maybe a painting, and then this is also printmaking?
Yeah, this is started as a photo, and then I made a screen out of it, and then put it on to the document. Because it's almost like a stamp.
This really makes me angry. I'm looking at this black family over here about to be sold. I also have a feeling they're separated.
Of course.
This man can't even protect his wife and his kids.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about this freaking treachery of this country.
It's brilliant.
This is
How did you have this idea?
That's the thing. It's like, how did they come? It just comes to me. It just comes.
Just a mind like
you know
that.
what? No, for
You
real.
were born like this.
God's gift.
Flawless.
No,
I was
listen.
born like this.
Like, you know.
For real.
In my mind, right? Like with this one, I was really thinking, okay, I want to do something that's really simple, screen printing. But I know my obsession with history, and then it's always a question: what happens if I actually screen printed over the documents? But I didn't think about it in the way that I'm seeing it, like how it actually, all of that extra stuff comes later, and once you catch on to it, you're like, oh my God, this makes sense.
Come on.
We having fun, black excellence. Yo, we learning.
Thank you, Adama, for blessing us. We are the Darkroom MCs.
Thank you for watching.